Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Alex Ray, and I'm going to teach you how to become confident using my proven method. It's so simple, anyone can do it. Hey unicorns, welcome back. How are you? It's been a couple weeks since I last recorded, and it feels wonderful to be doing it again. Maybe it's less than a couple weeks. I don't know. It feels like a while. Oh my goodness. So, today we're going to talk about the 7 stages of confidence. Before we dive into that, though, you heard me talking about the AC being broken here, and I just have to say I am so thankful to not be sweating my butt off anymore. I don't know when the whole house AC will get resolved, but I've got myself a portable AC unit. I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. But this thing is great. Oh my gosh. Thank you, inventors of the portable AC units. Y'all, I do not even realize how much air conditioning is part of our life until I didn't have it. And I've traveled internationally before and been without AC and been like, oh my gosh, right? But it was a while ago, several years ago, and now it was a great reminder to be thankful for everything, and AC is a luxury. So I am so happy to have that luxury. Again, I have to tell you. So it is so nice. I am nice and cool. I'm not sweating like crazy in the room. Wonderful. Okay. Also, the cicadas, y'all. I don't know if you have cicadas where you are, but here on the East Coast, we have, I think it's called a brood. It's basically like a generation of cicadas or something like that. I don't know. They bury themselves for what am I talking about? 17 years. They dig underground for 17 years and they feed off of like tree roots and I don't know what other nutrients is underground, but stuff like that. And then they come up. So every 17 years they hatch, they come out and they mate for like a few weeks, I believe, and then they'll go back underground. But the air is filled with just noise right now, and it's like a nice constant hum when you step outside. And I don't know, I think a lot of people are hating it. I'm kind of liking it. It's like free white noise. Like the outside is just filled with white noise. Why would you not like that? I would be sleeping with the windows open if it wasn't so hot, just so I could hear them. Although maybe they don't make noise at night. I don't know. That's silly. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay. The 7 stages of confidence. So, oh my gosh. Wait, also, hold on. How could I forget? Happy Pride Month. Yes, it is June 3rd when this episode comes out. So happy Pride Month. Yay. I've got some fun treats planned for you this month as well with some really neat bonus episodes, which you will hear about on Monday. So get ready for that. But all right, now that we got all the things out of the way, what an intro, you all. What an intro. Let's talk about 7 stages of confidence. All right. So before we go into this, I want to clarify that this is not a very linear, it's not totally linear event-wise, right? So I'm going to talk about the 7 different stages. You may experience them in a slightly different order. And guaranteed, you will always be experiencing some of the past ones even when you get to like stage 7, you will still notice sometimes that you'll slip back to an old stage. And so I wanted to do this episode for you to help clarify that, to give you a heads up for what to expect, and so that you can give yourself a nice big hug and some self-love and settle in knowing that nothing has gone wrong. You're a human going through the 7 stages of confidence. It's totally normal, even though some of them are excruciatingly frustrating, okay? And cognitive dissonance, as we talked about last week, is a very important factor to be thinking about here, right? Because you will, as you are changing your thoughts, confidence comes from our identity, which is thoughts that we have about ourselves. So as you are changing the thoughts that you have about yourself from old beliefs to new ones, you are most certainly going to experience some cognitive dissonance, and that will be perhaps the most frustrating part of your journey. But my friend, it is so worth it. Nothing's gone wrong. Just strap in, enjoy it, okay? So stage 1 is 0, right? That's where we start out. 0 confidence, total insecurity, a lot of fear about the future, and no self-worth or self-love. So what this looked like for me was I was very afraid to go and do the things that really my soul was screaming was the path for me. I was very scared to start things because I had a lot of fear of failure. I was very scared to go into the room with other experts because imposter syndrome. I also was very focused on what are other people thinking of me and trying to predict and manage their views of me, their expectations of me. This is insecurity, my friend. This is where we start out without. And let's define insecurity. Insecurity is just a lack of self-provided security. So it's a total lack of security here. Everything feels like it's reliant on other people and their opinions and circumstances outside of us in order to feel good about ourselves, in order to feel certain about the future, in order to feel grounded. We don't experience those things unless, the perfect storm of things is happening, which, as we know, really doesn't ever happen. So stage 1, you're familiar with it. You got it. Stage 2 is where you start to build some awareness. And what often happens here as a side effect of this, right? As you start learning that it is your thoughts that create how you feel, not your circumstances, that's when you start building awareness and realizing, oh no, like, I don't like this thought. I want to get rid of it. Hurry up. Can I replace this? Give me something else. And so you end up starting to fear your own thoughts a little bit, which is fine. That's part of this stage. But as you are building your awareness of the thoughts that are going on in your head, and you start realizing that they are not factual, that they're actually optional, you are going to go through a stage where you are feeling afraid of encountering those thoughts. So next, after that, stage 3 comes self-judgment. And this is very frustrating because the whole point of this journey is to build confidence, right? You're already very used to self-judgment. It's familiar. It's been there. And so a little bit of that is just your brain wanting to cling on to what's been easy and familiar for a while. And so it's like, yep, self-judgment. This is good. This is familiar. And what I want to just strongly guide you towards here is that it's okay. It's going to come up, because as soon as you, in stage 2, building that awareness, right? As soon as you've become aware of these thoughts, it is going to be your brain's natural tendency to go back to what it's familiar with, which is self-judgment, not self-love. And you're going to start judging your thoughts as you're noticing them come up, because now you're aware of them. Whereas before, it was way easier to look at them like they were something outside of you that was not optional. It's all right. Stage 4. This is where the self-judgment starts to diminish a little bit. Stage 4 is understanding. So you'll go from the self-judgment after you became aware of the thoughts to then understanding what's going on here. And this is where, when we work together, when I work with a client, I'm always helping them quickly go through those first few stages into stage 4 of just understanding, because there's a lot of relief there. And what understanding looks like is, oh, you know what? That thought that is total garbage now and is really holding me back, that served me at one point. That was very helpful at one stage of life. When I was a kid and I endured this trauma, that thought helped me survive. It helped me make sense of the world. That's okay. And I'm ready to move on from it. Okay. So that is where you start to get some relief from that self-judgment, just by understanding that the thought is not something wrong with you. It's something that once upon a time served you. Stage 5 is when you start pushing, though. Because once you start understanding, your natural tendency is going to be, okay, I got it. I see the old beliefs that were not serving me. I see where the insecurity was coming from. I see why I was not having my own back. Got it. Now let's fix it. Let's go to work. Which sounds like so lovely, but when you start pushing your brain to hurry up and change, you've slipped out of being present with where you're at right now. And by forcing and trying too hard, you end up kind of taking some of that self-judgment back in. Or you can also have a tendency to force things, but lack vulnerability within it. So, for example, I used to have, when I was working on my confidence, I used to have like ideas of ways that I could be real authentic with people and share some things. But what I was really doing when I shared these vulnerable sounding things is I was kind of sharing things that I'd already worked out in my own head. And I kind of had a wall up, and I would just share or overshare things with people that maybe were not appropriate to share, or at least gave me an opportunity to believe that, hey, look, this is vulnerability here, and I'm still kind of seeking a reaction from them. So maybe I would share a a traumatic story, and I might put it on Instagram and share it with everyone. But really, I was kind of trying to force myself into sharing these things with confidence, and I really wasn't there yet. I really wasn't there to have my own back. I was really like there to just kind of seek some validation and appear to be vulnerable so that I could then validate myself and say, yes, you were vulnerable there. That was good. So this stage of pushing, it's natural. You'll probably notice you're doing it at some point where you're putting a lot of effort, and it feels very kind of forced. To counteract this, you'll want to just notice it and say, oh, okay, there you are. It's all right. And allow yourself to go back to being in the present. Okay. So stage 5 was pushing. Stage 6 is acceptance. And acceptance is where you stay with yourself. What I mean by that is that you actually start truly experiencing a wider range of emotions without avoiding them. And so your first instinct when you start with insecurity is to look for validation externally or to buffer away negative emotion through things like Netflix, hanging out with friends in order to kind of distract your mind, random hookups, all of the things. Like, your brain can get very creative with all the things that it can use to avoid the moment and avoid feeling negative feelings that it doesn't like. Stage 6, acceptance, is staying with yourself, experiencing those emotions, not being overcome by them, but experiencing them. This is what sadness feels like. Wow. It's been a while since I really sat with it. This doesn't feel good, but it does feel better than avoiding. It does feel better than piling it up. So you can feel lower in this stage. And that can be discouraging because you might start thinking that you have regressed somehow, that you've done something wrong because you're experiencing some more negative emotions. But that's not correct, my friend. In fact, it's the opposite. The opposite is true. You are now experiencing a more full range of emotions. And so you haven't gotten less healthy. You've gotten healthier. This is really where confidence is built, because you are training your mind, your inner child, your whole being to know, hey, I can go through uncomfortable things and I can experience them fully and deeply without running, and I'll survive. And not only will I survive, but I will actually feel better. This is actually good. So stage 6, that acceptance, again, it can feel lower emotionally, but the difference is now you're actually experiencing the fuller range of feelings without shutting down or distracting. And then stage 7, this is love. and joy. This is where your first reaction becomes to have your own back. Not in a defensive way, right? You've listened to episode 3. You know what it is and is not to have your own back. So it's not defensive and it's not an escape. It's not, hey, let me just grab a self-care day just because I don't feel like doing it, right? Not to demonize self-care days. Sometimes they are great. It's just being on to yourself about why you're doing it, right? So it's not defensive and it's not an escape. This, my friend, the love, the joy, having your own back, this is confidence. It feels like if you'd been bullied at school and your parent was standing right next to you and saw it and immediately stepped in and said, hey, that is not okay. I'm taking my kid out of this scenario. It's not anything to change the other people. It doesn't have to. Because that's what keeps perpetuating insecurity. Confidence is like, whoa, no, I got me. So when other people are not on board with that, I'm out of here. I value and protect me. I love me. And I'm filled with so much joy for this journey. What an amazing experience I get to have in life. What a gift life is. There are highs that are great. There are lows that feel terrible. And I am here for every second of it to hold my own hand, to experience it all, to learn in all of it, to be my own best friend through all of it, to always be that parent that my inner child can turn to and say, hey, I'm scared. And that parent will say, it's all right. Hold my hand. I got you. We're in this together. And I'm not going to go anywhere that you're not ready to go. And wherever you go, I'll go. See, we have this picture in our head that our like conscious mind is the one that is capable of just pushing through and going, and that the inner child is not really that important. And the opposite is true. Where we are sensitive and afraid and insecure, our inner child, they are the one that is really going through the journey. And we are just consciously developing more love and care and affection and attention to that little inner child. The whole experience of life here is for them. And we're here to help them through it. Your soul came here to play. It came here for the negative scenarios and the positive ones. Why? Because all of the contrast, all of the 50% good of life and all of the 50% bad of life, all gives you clarity. It's all an opportunity for you to see more of who you are. Because you wouldn't even see it as clearly if you didn't have a contrast showing you what you aren't. Think about it. Every time something happens that you don't like, you also know more of what you do like. It's training ground. It's practice. These 7 stages, again, are not linear. You will notice yourself at different stages in different orders. And even once you reach a point where you're really all the way in your confidence, where your first reaction is, I've got my back. Hey, inner child. Hey, me, the real me, the soul. I love you. I've got you. We got this together. We're going to feel it. Even when your first reaction is to have your own back, you're still sometimes going to notice that you slip back into pushing and forcing because our like physical bodies and brains love to just get ahead because we think that we'll feel better when we get there. We think that we'll feel more worthy, and we won't. We'll feel more worthy and more loving when we're with our inner self. You can't feel more worthy by telling your inner self they're not currently worthy. Again, use that parent-child illustration. If you're a parent and your child gets like A's on an exam, would you celebrate with them? Or would you be like, meh, it was all right. That's kind of very elementary work you did. When you are starting out on this journey, every little thing, my friend, is an A+. Every tiny little shift. And we forget so often to celebrate. So I really want you to focus on that. Focus on the celebration. Focus on enjoying every moment of progress. It's hard. It's hard for me. I don't like to do it. My brain likes to get ahead and think about all the things that I'm doing wrong. No. Again, you can't shame yourself into transformation. It's not a good motivator for anyone. Give your inner child encouragement and love for where they're at and where they've been and where they've come to. It is a win, big or small, and this is something that you'll have to continue practicing throughout your entire lifetime. If you have the choice always between shaming or celebrating, why choose shaming? It's not like somehow more correct, or it's not somehow more correct than celebrating. So go celebrate. Go celebrate every stage in the journey when you notice it. Oh my goodness, there's that thing. Hey, I'm in stage 4. I'm in stage 6. Oh, damn it. I'm in self-judgment. Stage 3. Back there again. Your awareness is already a huge win. So to recap one last time for you, the 7 stages of confidence are: first, zero confidence, insecurity. Stage 2, awareness. Stage 3, self-judgment. Stage 4, understanding. Stage 5, pushing. Stage 6, acceptance. Stage 7, love and joy. This, my friends, is the journey to confidence. These are the 7 stages of confidence. Have an amazing week. Happy Pride Month again. I'll see you on the next episode. Hey, I want to invite you to come work with me. I'll help you apply my Confident Queer process so you can become confident. It's guaranteed. Head over to CoachAlexRay.com to get started. I'll see you there.